And welcome to the long-awaited grand finals of the GESC Jakarta Minor C qualifiers. We have here Fnatic versus GeekFam in a grudge match. GeekFam in the first round did knock Fnatic down into the lowest bracket, but they pulled out a Navi from the lowest bracket, have fought their way here into this best of 5 series to face off against GeekFam for revenge. I'm Hades, well, you call me the Trapcaster from hell, and of course with me my favorite co-caster, who totally is not a salty guy, PQMZ. Hello PQ, you there?
I'm not that salty, dude. Compared to my playing days, I'm very tame now.
Right. Okay, but here we are in this series. I can tell you, GeekFam, these guys, they love their late game. They have a lot of faith in the Razor pick as well. And alright, I think we're gonna be in for a very good series. I mean, I don't think any of us expected GeekFam to be in the finals in the first place.
Fnatic's turn to ban.
Something I like about the current scene is if a team just finds like the right stride or something, then they can upset lots of people. And the scene's very close overall right now in comparison to how it has been in previous years.
10 seconds remaining.
But now we see the Chen pick. Don't worry, PQ. I know you were thinking. You were thinking that it was gonna be a universe offlane Chen. Don't worry, it's not. It's a DJ Chen.
Dire team ban.
I'd like to see either of them personally. I think this offlane Chen thing is very strong in the right games, and if a team has the flexibility to run it in both roles, it makes it a very safe opening pick. And Fnatic have shown that they can first pick this Terrorblade in the last series and not really mind too much what gets put against it, because they can have Focus Hero on Abed or even Universe, and MV can just do his stuff regardless.
I mean, DJ, he has been impressive on this Chen, at least for the past 2 days. And GeekFam, they have a pretty respectable win rate when they first pick up the Razor. Don't know the exact number, but so far all the games which I've casted the Razor, they have usually won. This is a Skirmblue Razor. Very unlikely that it will go to March, but I'll have to say that at least with the way they approach the draft, GeekFam has been quite creative. Like sometimes I've seen, yesterday I think against Execration, they ran like a Tuskar Undying offlane, knowing that they could force the supports to stay top. They wreck that lane, of course. So, you know, they don't always stick to the traditional offlaning heroes, which we are so used to seeing like Tide or Batrider.
I think that's a good thing right now. There's lots of heroes that you can play in different ways. Like, I think at the start of this patch, no one would see Shen as an offlane hero, and now you play around with it a bit and you realize it's feasible. And we've even been seeing people do like Razor as a matchup against solo heroes that ends up getting tri-laned or whatever, and it still has some play in the game, so offlane's very interesting right now. There's a lot of things you can do.
10 seconds remaining.
Alright, but I don't know. I feel like at least in this game one, do you not think that there is a certain degree of significance in who wins this game? Because you like the momentum. It's also about the the psychological factor involved. And maybe I'm reading too much into it, especially since it's just an online qualifier. But you know, especially for GeekFam, and these guys are so eager to qualify for their first Valve event, I guess you could say there's a certain degree of pressure on them right now.
Maybe there's a lot of self-inflicted pressure. Not knowing the players personally, I can't really comment, but generally the more experienced teams are quite happy to use the first game in a best of 5 to like learn a lot about how the other team is going to play, and if they lose, it doesn't set them back too much mentally because you learn a lot from this first game. Whereas the less experienced teams who probably are really eager to show what they can do in big events and get to these tier 1 lands, they won't have that same mentality and discipline. They'll really want to make sure they win every game, and if they lose, it might put them on edge.
Alright, okay, so you did mention that you don't really know these players too well. Let me just give a bit of a background info, just a bit of fun stories, right? Alright, so like Skirmblue, he's a Filipino player, play hard as well, and the rest are Malaysian. March, that's not the Korean March from MVP Phoenix. You know, Trion, he played for Warriors Gaming in the youth squad. Play hard, I believe he played for Arcanis, a Filipino team. Used to be a pretty big brand. And most of these guys, you know, just high MMR pop stars, which you just kind of bring together. And so far, I would say they have been yielding pretty decent results. And these guys are not playing from their team house in Malaysia right now. These guys are in Indonesia already, in fact. Not because they qualified for this event, but as in they're playing a different tournament as well, the Acer Predator League, which is hosted by TNC, I believe. But
There's actually quite a few things going on in Indonesia at the moment, which is really cool, considering I might be moving there soon.
nice. Oh, coaching. Is that what's happening here, PQMZ?
It is.
Oh,
10
nice.
seconds remaining.
I need to see contract first, man.
But okay, so for Fnatic,
5
let's see the
seconds
Shadow
remaining.
Demon pick coming up. Synergizes well the Terrorblade, I have to say. And considering Tinker's left in the pool, I'm not surprised if GeekFam decide to pick that up. They will go ahead of the Winter Wyvern. I also have to say, Playhard and Ollie, they have been very solid in their support play. So far, every single game in this qualifier, they really impressed. I mean, so far, like, you know, I like the Winter Wyvern usage in case of a Black Hole coming up. Because the last time we saw Universe on that Black
10
Hole,
seconds
completely
remaining.
shut down by the Playhard Winter Wyvern. Where, also Ollie on the Winter
5
Wyvern, you
seconds
just Winter's Curse.
remaining.
So even a BKB is not going to save you.
I think these two picks are very important for the draft right now, because the Shadow Demon hero synergizes very well with both of Fnatic's heroes. And it's also pretty good at allowing Razor to, allowing your cause to get away from the Razor, if he's not too fat. And then same thing with this Wyvern being very good against what Fnatic have. You've got the deep push for the Chen creeps, you've also got ways of killing anyone that's near TB illusions, which is very annoying
Dire
for
team
supports.
Centaur pick. I don't know, I feel like I've seen this before. Like, that's another hero which, I mean, the synergy with the Shadow Demon seems a bit stupid, but I mean, Centaur Illusions, the return
10
does
seconds remaining.
get inflicted back to the tower, if I'm not mistaken. So they could always do this very, very tiny
5 seconds
push.
remaining.
It's very slow, but no, it's still fun. But how you?
No, I think the more obvious synergy is they have this Chen hero that can enable the Centaur to lane very easily, unless GeekFam put the two supports in a very, very strong carry in that lane.
Mhm.
And even then, Fnatic I don't think would mind that too much, because their other two lanes will be easier. So this is a hero that will draw quite a lot of focus in GeekFam's draft, I think. And if it doesn't, then Fnatic will have a very good game with the Centaur. And it's similar to what OG do when they play it, I think. And then so far it's showing really good against what GeekFam have as well, because again, you can disengage from the link. You've got many ways of
Fanatics
jumping on top of
turn
them.
to
You've got a lot of
ban.
damage output as well, many ways to siege towers, split the map. One of the things I really like about Shen recently is that it enables your team to be able to group up and take objectives while you still cover a different lane at the same time through your creeps.
I think
10
as well, like with
And
the Chen.
Terrorblade also does that.
Yeah, but Chen as well. This is a very classic strat, right? Like we used to see this
5
with
seconds
either
remaining.
Chen or Enchantress back then with Bat Riders, just to help them get a quick blink dagger. And yeah, this has been a comfort strategy of Fnatic, at least, which I have observed. And
Dire team ban.
I mean, especially with such a talented player like DJ, he knows how to keep the supports there. And if you look at the support duo, at least coming up from GeekFam, they don't exactly have the best heroes to deal with, Chen creeps.
No, they really do not have a support that deals well with any kind of
10 seconds
neutral creep
remaining.
aggression. So with how they've drafted at the
5
moment, it
seconds
would,
remaining.
I think, leave to them having some very strong one position hero now, unless they want to use the Razor that way. But I don't see them winning if they have just the Razors like a physical damage scaling core. So
Dire
I think the
team
Deuce
pick.
ban from Fnatic's pretty smart. And Fnatic having
Fnatic's
last pick for
turn to
Abed's hero is going to make GeekFam want to pick something that can lane pretty easily against most things, and I think DK fits the category pretty well.
And the way Trian plays his DK is kind of different as well. Usually like you would go from like points to Dragon's Blood
10
or the plus
seconds
300
remaining.
HP talent. But so far the way he's been playing it, he goes for the damage. He likes to go for the
5
GPM.
seconds remaining.
He's all about the late game. He actually plays it like an actual, he goes for the damage. He's all about the damage. He doesn't really like going full tank. And I think this is okay. Their draft, they have pretty good siege. Team fight wise, the puck as well. A lot of it will be up to March to create the tempo for the game. But so far, like, who would you identify as Fnatic's tempo maker?
The Shen, for sure. If he sets the pace in the lanes, he can enable his Centaur to have a good game. And I imagine Abad's hero isn't something that they're going to look to be massively active
Choose your
with.
hero.
Tinker makes a lot of sense this game because I don't think they're particularly scared of the game going later. I don't think they're particularly scared of like a lot of aggression either. The only real downside to having a Tinker here is the Nyx.
Oh, but I'm not surprised that the Tinker did come out. After all, I mean, I was a bit curious. Like, I was wondering, why haven't we seen this hero more? I mean, wouldn't you agree that Tinker is basically the cancer of the patch at the moment? Like, we've seen a lot of Tinker beat bounty. It's a very common strat, and even without a bounty hunter to just track all these targets, Tinker still does way too much. In fact, with Aghanims and especially with the introduction of Kaya.
I think it's very much a pub hero that you can. Once you get to a certain level of play, I don't think you can just slam it in a drafting stage like second, third, or fourth unless the other team has like very abundant weakness. I like how Fnatic drafted this game because what they've been doing with picking Envy's hero and just not caring first is allowing them to get these other matchups with like their off laner and their mid player to shine, while Envy still manages to do okay.
Like,
so I really like how they're setting up their drafts, and I would say I favor them a lot this game just because it's very hard to push into a Tinker if you don't have the right form of catch, and they do have some, so there is hope for GeekFam. But it's harder to execute overall, and you know, if they're nervous or whatever because they're playing a grand final, it could bite them.
but we shall have to see. After all, I mean, you did say you like the way Fnatic drafted, but I want to see like GeekFam take a couple of games off here, especially since, you know, these guys are a new team. It's good to see some new blood shining in the spotlight for once. So anyways, introducing the teams. On the radio side for Fnatic, you have Universe on the Centaur going to the safe lane actually with Highlight Die. You have Abed on the Tinker, Eternal Envy on his Terrorblade, DJ on the Chen. For the Dire side for GeekFam, Play Hard playing on the Nyx Assassin. You have March playing on the Puck, Tron on his Dragon Knight, Ollie playing on the Winter Wyvern, and you have Scumbaloo playing on the Razor. So I know a couple of Twitch chat members are like always saying like, alright, yeah, GeekFam won because they have the Razor, but who knows? If they do lose with this comfort strat, that could be quite demoralizing if you think about it for team morale.
It depends how many strategies they have to fall back on, right? If this is what they feel they can win with and they don't have anything else, then yeah, it could really be a problem. I have a feeling that isn't the case. I don't even think the Razor matches up particularly well this
The
game.
battle begins.
He's probably going to be quite scared of this Centaur as the game goes on unless he gets a really good start.
Smart money.
Alright.
And I really like how they're setting Envy up in the top lane where the Chen has the most use with sending the creeps back, getting lane control.
I actually really am annoyed with this mechanic. He just sent back like what, 3 creeps. The creep equilibrium is gonna be pushed out. Envy's gonna have a pretty decent lane. Just look at this.
I think it's something they will definitely address in a future patch.
Like,
Any way to manipulate lanes like this is something that you see patched pretty soon.
Holy Persuasion was it Holy Persuasion or was it Test of Faith which got the cooldown buff? It was one of these, right? I know one of the Chen skills got the buff.
And the worst thing is it's so cheap. You just run a Clarity, you send the entire wave back, and as you can see, Envy has a wave in a very good spot, so the Razor can't really play up and link him, which means his meta gets a nice easy CS, he can control the wave, supports can't really zone him out. And now you have a Sata creep and a Centaur available for the Chen, so he's going to have a lot of presence in lanes the first few minutes.
Especially when he
I don't
keeps
think
spamming
there's
that
really
out.
much play mid, but the rest of the lanes he can do things.
I think Tron and Abed, they've played quite a number of party pubs together, so they have a good feel of how each player's playstyles like. I mean, I saw Tron pretty much win the lane with the DK against the Tinker that day in terms of the CS. So I wouldn't be surprised if he does replicate that kind of performance out here again.
I think DK's just one of those heroes that, like, he has a really good attack animation. It's very easy for him to control the wave and get some CS. So. I don't think there's too much in this lane in terms of who wins or loses. It's down to like who aggros creeps better and who hits control.
Universe. Bottom lane, he almost got a first blood here onto March. If he got the stomp, oh, Pilot die, might actually end up getting the kill here. March is the lowest, 70 HP. Poison's gonna take him down. I think he's dead. First blood. Oh, juked it with the phase shift. Split second decision and play hard. Still getting a couple of pokes in onto Pilot die.
That's actually a pretty big misplay in terms of not getting the kill, but you know, one thing I really like this patch is that you can push these heroes out of the lane, force them to go to base, and then they're out of the lane longer. So you get quite a lot of value in that respect. But First Blood Gold does kind of change that theory most of the time.
So because of that, Universe is going to have a much better time, 11 and 6.
Yeah, I expect Fnatic to pretty much have 3 lanes that get very good farm. I don't see the center having many problems. GeekFam don't really have the best heroes to roam and punish this Tinker. Maybe they can do something with a DK6, but before that, Tinker's just going to trade. And Envy's getting babysat by Chen, so it's very easy for him to have a good lane.
And it is working out. He's 12 and 5 to the Razor 7 and 3. The Satyr is basically just spamming out the shockwave, the damage, 160 hit. And Skirmblue, despite having the wand, he's already almost out of region, just a south left.
Yeah, very lucky with the first creep, but Chen's got many options these days.
And the region, just having the region aura alone is so good, and you add the shockwave into the picture. Skirmblue is, yeah, he's already down to 200 HP, will be forced to salve up after this. Man, this
He's
is
a very sad Razor.
superbly annoying.
The most important thing I think that GeekFam have going for them is they don't necessarily need like these really good lanes. Once they get their levels up and they can start playing around a coil and this DK ult, they have plays on the map. So regardless of how bad their lanes look, they can still come out of this with ways to make things happen on the map.
Off lane, Envy, hopping the wand just in the nick of time. Skirmblue almost got the kill there. DJ, he loves to send people back. 5-star Uber on this guy, and he saved his teammates quite a number of times as well throughout the course of this qualifier. But Play Hard, meanwhile, setting up a kill onto Abed with that Invis rune. And that's gonna help Tron get a much bigger advantage in this lane now, bigger than it was. 26 and 2, and the CS is just gonna stretch apart.
Yeah, nice free kill. I think if they could manage to set something up similar to this again, and then start hitting the T1 tower mid, that's one of the best plays they could be making. But I think they need another rune for that, or maybe this puck to get his 6, which is a good few minutes away. Especially if the Nyx is sapping XP.
Man, Play Hard was trying for that Impale. But with Universe playing in a slightly more... Yeah, I mean, he is playing in a more passive position. So this way, GeekFam should kind of anticipate that you have more heroes coming up to the top lane. Shots are dead. If you think about going for the courier, the spell shield will be used on the courier. Will they want to dive to tier 1 for this? I don't think so.
The Wyverns are really big deterrent.
Oh, middle lane, they get the Impale. Do they have the Dragon's Tail? They have the Breathe Fire, and Abed should end up going here to Play Hard. Ooh la la.
This is exactly what I was saying like a minute ago. If they can get this happening, they're not going to get the most damage on the tier 1, but maybe they can set it up for the next DK ult to claim it. Because right now Fnatic have not done any play around mid at all with their supports. And you can see that Abed.
Oh, Eternal Envy might actually end up going down here. Skirmblue with the Plasma Field, level 3, securing that Eternal Envy kill. And GeekFam are 3-0 in the laning phase. Middle lane, we might see a trouble again here. Pylai die. Blocking Trion as much as he can. They do get the ensnare. They get the stomp as well. Will the lasers and rockets be enough? Trion, no, the raindrop soaks up the damage. He's actually going to be okay. It's a big rotation coming in, and if they can't get the kill, that's going to be a lot of wasted time.
I might even turn.
Oh, Universe! Carapace is there. Play hard. With the double edge, they do find the play hard kill. So, not all is lost. They find one constellation and they can go back to the shrine to heal up. Arbet gets some free solo time.
This is a really bad trade for them though, because when the GeekFam players see that the Terrorblade dies top, they kind of know to play a bit more safe mid, and that probably saves for DK with him having a haste rune. So you kill this TB top, you push his tower, sure he gets for deny, but the tower itself is pretty good. And then you only lose the Nyx. It's pretty good, and now you see how the net worth is completely skewed to GeekFam having all 3 of their cores on top despite the early laning phase, meaning they miss like several CS in comparison. I think if they can keep this up where they keep making use of the DK ult and maybe bring the coil into play, they're looking really good right now. Fnatic, they're not quite there yet. They just need like a handful of minutes and then they can start playing the game they want to play. But right now they're really weak in comparison.
Dragon's Tail onto Arbet. They have the Impale as well. The TP's coming in and they use the Stampede to disengage. There we go, Pylai die with the disruption. We'll go into Tron. Will he be able to rack the DK down? I don't think so. And Arbet will be waiting at the shrine together with Eternal Envy. And meanwhile, that was happening, before that, the Nyx Assassin did get a very nice Observer Ward in the Radiant jungle. Oh, they did get the Carapace and the stun. The chain stuns are there. Will the Brief Fire be enough? I think it should. Pylai die will tick to play hard in Trion. Meanwhile, Universe
That's
picking
such a
up a
cocky
rune.
play from him, showing throwing poisons out when there's a Nyx in the lane. I don't think they're gonna quite be able to take the tower with how long the DK ult has left, but again, it's just good damage. And right now they're kind of putting pressure on all the lanes, and they're making things happen.
Play hard. Missing the stun. The Dragon's Tail will be there. Do they have the Brief Fire? He does have it in a bit. Play hard. Needs to pop that Carapace. Will reflect some of that damage. If he had gotten the stun, that would have been a kill into Arbet. But somehow, keeping my life and out. The Cold Embrace over there to try and keep Play hard alive. They have the Shockwave and the Stomp. Will it be enough? Nope, Nyx Assassin will die. Dragon's Tail will be there from Tron. Do they have enough damage? Yes, they do with the Brief Fire and of course with the Arctic Burn. Scumbaloo chasing Pylai down under the course of the tier 2 tower. One more right click will not be enough. Pylai getting out with 8 HP. And middle lane, the TP's coming back in from Arbet. Just using the March to try and stall this push as long as they can. Universe still farming away, needs to get that Blink Dagger, but will be going into the Hooded Defiance first. And they do get the tier 1 tower going the way of Scumbaloo.
Very important tower for them to be able to take at this stage of the game. The more of the map they can open up so that they can like play in the Radiant jungle, the better their game's going to be. And the Nyx is at a point where he can take the bounty runes, get the tomb, and he has his 6. And then I think he just needs any core to be in a lane that he can play around, and he can create a lot of pressure. Centaur's probably the only hero you don't really look to kill, unless you rotate more heroes.
Feel especially with once the Nyx Assassin gets level 6 up. Arbet still doesn't have travels. This is going to be a very slow build up because he ran into the Soul Ring build. So, especially the tier 1 tower gone. I'm not sure how he's going to get the space to farm up that boost of travel. It's going to be very slow. And not to mention, he still needs Tom to build into a Blink Dagger. Envy isn't getting tier 1s yet. He's still going to try and build into... What's this? Tons of Wraith Bands, Aquila. Hurricane Pike on the way.
I think he just wants like small stat efficient items. One of the other problems Fnatic might run into here is if their Chen creeps keep dying to whatever play, it's gonna take a lot of space away from the heroes that want to farm the jungle. Because Chen is not a hero that wants to walk around with bad creeps. You know, he's going to be taking the big camps most of the time, which then means Tinker is probably on a lane or in a more exposed position like he is now.
Shots are there with the Vendetta and the Impale. Down goes Arbet. He's getting shut down very hard this game. 0 and 3. Stampede will be used for Universe to try and run away from this, but Tron's right click will be enough, and they get the tier 1 tower. 7-2, GeekFam. They're running away with the laning phase and are entering the mid game with force.
If you watched the series before this, Fnatic were able to like get away with lanes similar to this, and just by I think playing better. But GeekFam are definitely finding their windows to put their pressure in, and they're actually using their advantage to do something this game, and you see how different it is. Now Fnatic are playing on their own side of the map, they're playing scared, they're not able to play the game that they want to play, and right now they're just reeling from pressure. And Nyx is one of the best heroes, you know, starving supports out and making sure you can kind of keep playing aggressive.
And I like the point which you brought up earlier on, especially about the Chen creeps dying, whatnot, and the farm distribution is just going to be a bit hard. DJ will be scouted out by the orb, and what he doesn't know is that Playhard's in the area as well. This Nyx, 3, 2, and 1.
Are they gonna?
They might. Do they have enough damage? They might be able to overwhelm DJ.
I don't think you want to make this play right now because there's a shrine right there, and you just you take the pick if it comes to you. But I don't
Gone for it.
force it.
Besides, the Hand of God will be thrown out. They have a coil. If March wants to use it, Pylai nowhere to run, but he will be sent back home by DJ. Probably going.
That's a really nice play for them though, because it's really low risk, and if Fnatic over-respond to them, then they get space in the other lanes. You know, they didn't commit for that kill in a really like scary manner, and then now they might get a kill because they didn't play before, and now they're in a position to make another one. But even if they don't get the kill here on Santa,
DJ.
it's not that big a deal. Losing the Razor, on the other hand, might be.
Bit of a misplay there. I felt like that should have been a confirmed kill, or at least closer enough to being a kill. Missing the impale, but Playhard stalking Universe, debating out the sentry. Universe hanging around a very suspicious area.
They definitely know the sentry's there because they de-warded.
Oh, Playhard! The stomp, the hellbear, the shockwave, everything thrown on him and squashed into the ground.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
I don't think that kill's as bad as it looks, so because there were like 4 heroes here, and meanwhile the Puck's just pushing in bottom. He's got a very stacked inventory for this stage of the game, considering he was effectively an offlane. I mean, he had a one-on-one matchup, so it is what it is. But all the heroes right now have like their first stage of items that are going to allow them to fight and go into Fnatic. While Fnatic is still at the point where they're getting these items to farm to get more items.
Alright, so the 4,000 gold advantage. I mean, it's safe to say that this game still can be salvaged by Fnatic. But if they drag it out, but the problem is, I feel like the Chen will not be getting that good of a time. I mean, Aved finally does have those BOTs, so perhaps they can try to make something happen if the Chen creeps. I mean, it makes it easier to join.
I think if you're looking at this game on the highest levels, Fnatic are going to expect to be behind when GeekFam start grouping up, unless they have like flawless lanes. And they'll be quite happy being able to get things done in exchange for things, because they know as the game goes on, they have control through this Tinker pick, and they're going to have map control through the Chen as well.
Oh wow, look at Ollie. 4 stacks of Shadow Poison together. And Ollie's almost dead. They get the blink, the double edge, down goes Ollie. He didn't have a TP. Oh, he did actually. Not sure why he hesitated.
Meanwhile, the DK is taking a stare.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
I don't know if they particularly want to be giving this tier 1 up. They're prioritizing putting pressure instead of defending.
March.
That'd be so good.
Using the coil, he has the dream coil. Should be to blink out. Oh yes, he does. Very quick play with the orb, but I think the poison will be enough. Universe right clicks him down at that axe. Chop, chop, chop. Down goes March.
So the DK does manage to go top and defend the push, but Fnatic get a pretty quick core kill with how deep this puck was. And now they even find the Nyx.
Disruption, play hard, nowhere to go. Zapped down by Abed. He's starting to pick up some momentum, at least a place back into this game. And while all that was happening, Trion now has enough money to afford a Shadow Blade. Top of the net worth 8,000 gold. But the net worth doesn't really describe what's happening, does it? As the Tinker gets more items, don't you feel like this game will become significantly harder for GeekFam?
Yeah, and that's why they needed to make their window as strong as possible early. And now they're just feeding kill after kill in these situations. Fnatic are gonna feel like they have much more control of the game. Like, this is a kill that they probably shouldn't be giving away, especially when he sat with 3k gold. Like, if he just made his item choice and bought this Blink Dagger straight away, I don't think he dies there. I can understand the whole debate because Shadow Blade makes it a lot easier to catch the Tinker, but when there's a Nyx on your team, they're going to have sentries anyway, so it's a lot less value on its own. And one of the worst feelings, I think, is playing a hero like DK and not being able to go in because you have Shadow Blade and not a Blink.
Paladai pushing up the top lane now.
Dire's top tower is
So you were
under
saying?
attack.
It also helps him follow the puck when the puck blinks in, as opposed to Shadow Blading and running
Dire
in.
True
are
that.
scanning.
I'm definitely a fan of the DK Blink Dagger more than I am of DK by Shadow Blade. I feel it's a very situational item. But there we go, GeekFam, they will go for a 3-man smoke, realizing they need to salvage some of the situation. Their 4,000 gold advantage has now been minimized to 1,000.
Yeah, past few minutes have been rough for them.
Is under attack.
And now that the smoke isn't connecting on them, like, I think they wanted to try and find the Tinker when he was prepping to defend a wave, because they saw the heroes pushing top. So it was probably what they were looking for with their smoke, and it hasn't worked, and now they just sat 4 heroes here. So if Fnatic can start pushing all the lanes in with their Chen creeps and their Tinker and not getting caught, GeekFam are gonna start losing their ability to play.
Very hard. Oh, the ensnares there. They will use the coil. Maybe DJ will be the only one to die here. Will be nuked down by March. Tinker did TP in, but Paladai getting caught out. All of the Arctic Buns wait for the splinter shots. Will be enough to kill Paladai. Arbet already took out Playhard and he will get racked down by Scumbaloo. So 2-for-1 trade. All the supports are dying in this game. At middle lane, they will go for a trade with the Metamorphosis.
Dire's
Yeah, this is
middle
what
tower
Fnatic
is under
care more
attack.
about. Like, their 2 supports, it's whatever, you know. It's nice if they don't feed away kills, but they end up getting the deny. It's still a very important tower.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
And I think Fnatic gain a lot from the map being open. They don't necessarily want their towers down, but if they can get a trade 1-for-1, then it favors the Tinker and the Terrorblade.
What do you feel about March going to a Lincoln Sphere? I mean, don't you
I mean, it's only selected at the moment, so you might not actually be buying it. I think a Yules would be more standard.
Yeah, I feel it'd be a bit more helpful
It's
as
really
well.
good against Centaur, because you can just pre-click it on him. It's a really long wind up on his stun. It's good at catching Tinker. I don't really see the purpose of the Lincoln unless it's near a time where the Tinker wants to get a Hex, which is quite a ways
Dire's
away.
middle tower is
I don't
under
think you can
attack.
get away with like rushing a Hex on Tinker before you have these prerequisite items.
Trun's just busy
With him
enjoying
going
Jungle.
Aether
Aetherlens.
Lens, over the Kaya, I think he might be looking at a Sheath. He doesn't need to be the damage source as much when you have a TP on your team. Even Centaur, you know, pretty solid nuke throughout a fight. Does a lot of damage.
Universe lurking around, looking for some kills. Would like to set something up in the jungle if he could. The orb's really flying out and Universe is getting primed to find that puck. They're pinging it out as well. Envy and Universe will be enough, especially with DJ coming in if they can just find him. But Scumbaloo now with a pause.
It's hard kill. Find this puck. He has to misplay quite a lot. Or get baited by Envy, which is something I'm sure Envy's thinking about doing right now.
So like what, take deliberate damage from the creeps. Puck tries to go in for a kill, Envy feeds, but somehow the other two just clean up. Is that it?
Well, I mean, if he like tanks another orb or something and then he stays around, he can make the puck try and go on him with a Chen heal. It's very easy to make these baits. and then you just hope that Universe doesn't blink into like a silence or the puck dodges the stun and then you get a turn kill.
True that, and he has one charges as well.
I think Puck's bigger goal here is not to kill, but to neutralize the wave pushing in and just constantly make sure his team doesn't have to worry about a tower getting hit. Because right now the DK is just about to pick his BKB up, which is a pretty good timing for them. And the Razor's, you know, getting decent items.
Well,
Okay, it actually worked.
bait.
And that's a play you won't be too
Radiant's
happy with
bottom
getting caught out by,
tower is
I'm
under
sure.
attack.
And now Fnatic have control of this jungle.
Play hard. He doesn't know that he's directly on top of a sentry. Oh, this is scary. If they had vision on him, they could have jumped him right there. They have the numbers.
Radiant's
The
bottom
illusion is hitting him.
tower is
He
under
knows.
attack.
He's picking it out. Oh, this is a hard game, right? I mean, it started out pretty well for GeekFam, but now it just feels like this is Fnatic's game.
Is under attack.
Like, they're controlling the map better as well. GeekFam aren't able to make the plays. They will try for a smoke gank, however.
Yeah, they think Roche, but they're very, very wrong. And they don't really have any vision of anyone right now, except for the one ward bottom showing the Tinker. So this is a pretty blind zone.
My thrift reward.
And if I'm right, they also don't have any wards to place with it. Okay, they just placed one. What's the next?
Scumbaloo will show himself in the middle lane, but Envy, they seem to know that, yeah, I'm pretty sure they were smoked because one hero just randomly popped up on the map. And bottom
They
lane,
might bait the solution. No, I think they know it's Pies.
Dire's bottom tower
and at the
is
same
under
time, you know,
attack.
Abed's already caught up very nicely, second on the net worth. He might be able to get to first place very soon. Aghanim Scepter queued up. I do fear for GeekFam once the BKB timing starts to run short, but I don't know, what do you think? Like, do you think this DK can carry the late game?
For sure. Mostly because he has a Nyx to help him catch the Tinker and also mess around with the TB. Like, Nyx just helps your cause so much because he provides so much lockdown. And this is also a really good position for GeekFam to fight because if they get a good curse, the fight can be so strong for them. I think they know they're walking over, but it's a little late.
Yeah, there's no way they make it in time. Oh, the coil. I was waiting for it. Oh, that's a very nice Winter's Curse. DJ is gonna get right click down. Trying to chase for a bit more. Universe with a 3-man stomp. It's big. The missiles are flying, but where's the follow-up? Can they kill Universe? Static Link trying to steal some damage. Disruption will keep it in place. Overfly out, but Abed laying out the Martian machines, trying going back in. He has the BKB still. Don't forget, he will breathe fire and cook up Universe. Horse meat for everyone. And play out, looking for the characters, trying to stun up Abed. But Abed's already back in the base, and that's going to be 2 kills going the way of GeekFam. Not too
They
shabby.
also have a shrine, so they can heal up if they want. I think they won't be too happy that they actually let them get the Roche, but the fact they got some kills off of it will make it sting a lot less. Especially if they can get some pressure on a tower. So right now they aren't really scared of getting jumped. Now they know the Centaur isn't alive. So they can play a lot ballsier. They also have some sustain for the Spirit Vessel that Nyx picked up.
Massive win as well, I feel, is that Chuan has not used his 10-second BKB just yet.
No, and he's pretty fat, so...
Oh, he's
they
gonna
don't
slow down. The
necessarily
purge is
require-
out. Chuan on the run. Envy charging for it relentlessly. He doesn't really care. And GeekFam are trying to disengage from this fight, and they will successfully do so. However, Fnatic still looking for something. They're still pursuing. Looking to shed some blood. Looks like they may have found one. The lasers are flying out with the rockets. Nice Winter's Curse. Oh, where did it actually successfully click? No, never mind. The defensive disruption. Very nicely done coming up from Pile Die. And Albert will actually... Oh, he will survive this. Ollie, however, will not. And Ollie is dead. And Albert to find the second as well. Both supports down on the side of GeekFam as the cause of GeekFam on the other side of the map right now. Trying to, you know, get up some comeback form to stabilize the team's economy. They have a very narrow advantage now, up to 2,000.
Yeah, it's not really an advantage if it's less than 5k, I think. And with them losing their two supports, so it's going to give Fnatic the ability to play around this side of the map and probably take the tower.
BKB build up for Scumbaloo. Tron still trying to build into a Maelstrom. I mean, why do you think he didn't go for like the usual build-up? Like, wouldn't you see DKs go for the Assault Kuras?
Is under attack.
I mean, I wouldn't have said no to a Bloodthorn build-up as well. Orchid wouldn't be too bad.
Dire's structures are fortified.
He hasn't committed to anything yet, but I think his items right now are pretty standard. And then any kind of item that provides a way of killing the TB, his illusions, makes sense. I think MKB is a pretty value item this game, but because you have such a long BKB right now, you probably don't need it directly after.
Oh, play hard. They found one pick off. It will be Pile Die, a very pesky Shadow Demon, who has made quite a number of plays this game.
Yeah, nice creepy.
I'll bet just casually cutting away the creep wave. Very annoying actually if you think about it. And March did commit to the Lincoln Sphere, almost has it up halfway to the recipe.
Yeah, I think this was a very preemptive buy from him, looking to secure a part of the game that's like maybe 5-10 minutes after he buys the item, as opposed to like getting something for more immediate value. Yeah, they might have also wanted to do some
Dire's
play
top tower
where
is under attack.
they have this really strong DK with a BKB and they mess around with MV's Thunder with a Lincoln's. But I think he was definitely looking for the sheep timing on the Tinker, which he's not that far away from. If they continue to get a lot of space, which I don't really see stopping unless they take some really bad fight, he'll have it in the next few minutes. And then I don't think GeekFam can really split the map much more after that. Pretty much only their puck can take the lanes. Because with the Chen creeps, you're so mobile with a Tinker. If he actually
Dire's
spreads
top
them out and
tower
micros
is
them
under
for you.
attack.
They are trying to
But
bait
knowing
something
DK,
out.
he's probably more greedy, you know, and he just takes creeps in a lane himself.
They know Tinker is there, but can they find a Tinker?
Dire's top tower is fortified.
No, they don't want to take
Not
the
easy.
risk.
MV nearly has his BKB as well, so despite the fact they didn't really get anything huge off of this Aegis with some fight or so, he's now going to have an item that allows him to continue fighting.
My
If
thrift
GeekFam want to
reward.
try and do something after this Aegis, which is generally the response of a team like this, where they know they're sort of on a clock.
Are they on the clock though? I mean, GeekFam have kind of geared for the late game.
Radiant's bottom
Like
tower
even every
is
time I see a
under
DK
attack.
pick from GeekFam, they never are afraid to
Radiant's bottom
drag the
tower
game out.
is
Like they are
fortified.
fairly confident that the DK can be a late game hero as well. You see, like I mentioned,
Oh, it can for sure.
he did go
Dire's
into
Same with
middle
Razor.
tower is
yeah,
under
especially with
attack.
the corrosive breath and the splash damage being very strong. It's actually one of those heroes which is
Radiant's
quite
bottom
underrated against
tower
Terrorblade
is under
Illusions, I feel.
attack.
I think that's why DK is like so good this patch, because it scales really well. It's not so much that they don't have good scaling, it's more that Fnatic have ways to control the map. And the late
Radiant
game
are
much
scanning.
more comes down to how you take the fights and where your lanes are positioned, more so than brute force, like carry potential. And also, it doesn't matter how many items he has if he gets perma-hexed. So he needs Razor to be able to like have a big impact in the fight, and his Nyx as well.
I mean, I don't think anyone's looking for fights at this point. It's all about building up those BKBs first, right? Like Envy just picked up his, Razor's trying to complete his, which he's still lacking a few hundred gold.
Yeah, right now, GeekFam definitely would like a pick if they find anything, but Fnatic aren't going to give it to them with how they're playing right now. So they just want to... Fnatic will quite happily wait for this Tinker Hex, which is here in 5 gold. And they have 2 smokes if they would like to make a play.
Using up the Chen creeps, getting in the ensnare. They have 1 stomp, make it 2. And Scumbaloo will probably be dead here. Won't even get to complete the BKB. He was just 200 gold off. And now that's gonna be delayed.
That's a pretty big kill for Fnatic. They also have a gem on center, which DJ bought. I like this a lot. It's gonna make the maps like so much easier. Because now the Nyx won't be able to run into them. They can get rid of all these pesky wards that he might have placed. And they can just basically start choking the map in their own favor.
Envy
then-
running. Smoke just broke. He's found March. Oh dear. Tinker is here as well. Everyone is here. He will blink out, but he's been caught. Lincoln's actually saving him from the disruption from Pile Die.
I think it blocked the Hex, right?
I don't think Tinker was in range of the Hex.
Dire's
He was
bottom
just
tower
TPing
is
in.
under attack.
And that's going to be a tier 1 tower. Should be going the way of Fnatic. Although they will try to stall the push. Universe and Paladai setting up. Nice double stomp out from Universe with the Winter's Curse response. Missiles. The characters is there for play hard. He'll probably get right click down. Sean popping the BKB, going to the backline, trying to pop out Paladai. The Crimson Guard saving them. Eternal Envy that's going to work here on Sean. The Dragon will be forced to run. Lasers flying out. Down goes Play Hard. 2 heroes dead on the side of GeekFam. And Sean's DK form will look to be wasted here. The Scumbaloo will say hi to the Universe. But the Crimson Guard making Paladai crazy tanky, and with the Hand of God as well, they can't even kill support.
Dire's bottom tower has fallen.
No, and that might be because he's tanky, but it's also
Abed.
because they're super scared to commit. Because the second you don't have your BKB, this Tinker can lock you down, and then they've got plenty of damage through the Tinker spells and Envy in meta to...
Oh, look at this. Look at
shit.
this. Double cart, tanky centaur, return damage. My god. They're actually gonna get the tier 3 tower as well.
They're gonna get 2 sets of racks, I
Dire's
think.
structures are fortified.
What can GeekFam do? They can't do anything. The Hex is there. Trion and friends all about to die right in front of their own fountain, it looks like. Trion. One more missile. And Abed on unstoppable streak. They already took the bottom racks. They're about to take the top.
Bottom barracks has fallen. Dire's top barracks are
And I
Unexpected.
don't really think GeekFam have any play from 2 racks down.
Josh gonna be there. Universe looking for the stomp one more time. Won't be able to find it, but the racks will fall for sure. They can't get the megas because tier 2 is still standing in middle lane. But Fnatic are very happy with what they just took.
Yeah, that's pretty much the penultimate nail in the coffin. And now they can... They're actually gonna fake back with a smoke. See if they can get a pick.
If they win this fight, it could be tier 4s. Going in for the stomp initiation, missing it just barely. March, march, march. 4 staff away. Eternal Envy clicking away onto him. The Purge went to Scumbaloo. The Hex is there as well. Play hard, trying to use the Carapace to stun up the Tinker, but all for naught. And double stomp again from Universe as 1 down, make it 2. Zap, zap, zap. Heroes follow the power. Tinker, Cold Embrace will not keep Ollie alive. Oh, actually, hold on. He's still alive. 1 charges and all.
It doesn't matter though.
DJ casually walking to the enemy fountain with a Ghost Scepter. And Albed's like, don't worry guys, I'll get the wave there. You have fun.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
I think a lot of this game is just like... No matter how well GeekFam did in the lanes and how well they moved afterwards,
Dire's middle tower has fallen.
they needed to keep it up for like such a long stretch throughout the game.
Dire's middle tower
And that's
is
really
under
hard to
attack.
do, because once you start making some plays to succeed, it's not like Fnatic are dumb to this. They're gonna change how they play.
Winter's Curse. Ooh, they get Eternal Envy. He found the right one.
Just bad, man.
Will that be a redemption? I'm not sure. This could be the signs of a comeback. I don't want to jinx it.
I mean, now they just play for the second meta cooldown. They get Roshan. They control the map.
Smart money.
They stole the game out, but I don't think it's a play that turns the game by any means.
You wait for the level 25 talent, my friend. 420 GPM talent. That's what you want to march.
Then you also need what, like 10 minutes to make this do anything?
Radiant
Oh, why you gotta bust? Why you gotta burst my bubble like that?
It's possible they stole the game out for 10 minutes if Fnatic are gonna do that play again where MB sits in front of 6 illusions.
Going straight for the Roshan. GeekFam are gonna try and steal this. If they are to drag this game out, they're gonna need this.
The
Kill the troll.
damage is really low though, so
Yeah,
Fnatic can...
This isn't a Roche lineup.
Yeah, they don't even have medallions.
Using the Purge onto Scumbaloo, they will use the disruption as well. Stampede's gonna be popped, gonna jump Scumbaloo. It looks like he's about to die here. He'll be 4 step up to safety on the high gun, but he's cornered. Backed into the wall, and he will get brought down by DJ Tron, popping the BKB, trying to kill Pile Die, but he can't. Hex up from Abed. Double stomp coming up from Universe, and everyone's going down. Abed and DJ claiming all the kills. 3 heroes dead, and the GG will be called by Scumbaloo.
pretty scary game from Fnatic, considering I think Universe played like a boss this game. His stuns in fights were pretty game-winning.
Man, he's been on fire this entire game, and I was really impressed. He got so many good stuns. That was crazy. But what do you think GeekFam need to do to alter their game plan, especially for game 2?
Well, considering Envy said Razor just before the lobby started, and then they first picked Razor, and I don't think Fnatic cared throughout the entire game, it might not be a strategy that they want to continue playing with.
Like,
Because Razor's just a hero that forces you to play in a very specific way for it to work, and if Fnatic win a game like this, where their lanes didn't go particularly well, the other team started off with like really good tempo, I'm not so sure it's something they'll go back to.
I just
I'd
felt
like
like
to be
there were
proved
times.
wrong, but
No, as in, I just felt like they farmed too much in DK. Like, and I would have preferred if he was going around taking towers, grouping up. They had an advantage, but they didn't, make use of it. That's what I felt.
I think you have to find a balance with these kind of drafts. You can't just run down a lane when you're playing against Tinker. Their main issue was the Tinker for sure, because otherwise they could make that play where their DK isn't constantly using his ult to hit ancients and farm, and he can use it to be aggressive. But their draft definitely lacked the ability to take Roche, and they also only had the Nyx to really deal with Tinker. So maybe it was just this whole last pick element that Fnatic had being second pick, and they didn't ban Tinker. I can't think what they banned last stage instead of Tinker. I know Fnatic had options either way though, so...
Well, it was either going to be like the Abed Queen of Pain or the Tinker. That's basically the two heroes they were giving him. I think GeekFam banned out the Invoker, but I mean, we'll be looking back to it.
Right.
Yeah, we'll come back to it, but don't worry, we'll be taking a quick break. In this best of 5 series, Fnatic are currently 1 game up against GeekFam, ladies and gentlemen. And over here, for those of you tuning in, I'm Hades and this is PQMZ. We'll be back for game 2 shortly. See you guys soon.